Everyone, welcome to Grounded Holidays, your December wellbeing series. And I'm Melanie Gabby, a mental health and wellbeing specialist, bridging psychology and spirituality. And I created this series after years of working with adults, children, and families in mental health services, one-to-one client sessions, and through my own personal reflections and experiences of how deeply December can stir the waters for many people. So, this today, we're looking at how to deal with your parents, and in particular, if one is a narcissist. So, we're talking about maybe some family dysfunction on one level or some real dysfunction on another. So, this is a big one. If one of your parents is difficult, challenging, obnoxious, or even a narcissist, or the person that just ruins it for everybody, holidays can feel emotionally exhausting, intense, laborious. Okay, so we need to have our action plan. We need to know the roles, the people that are in our lives, and the roles that they've served and how it's been, not with the expectation that they're going to be that way, but what our own emotional and mental capacity is, how we manage our own energy and spaces, people, places. Okay, so if you're already feeling a bit burnt out and already a bit of stress, dealing with any dysfunction within families is going to feel even more challenging. Okay, so you have to have your toolkit, your survival kit. What is it out of all your toolkit, the things that you do support you while you're spending any time with any people that might feel challenging. So you might be out with a group of friends and you've had a lot of fun, and then you're with a different group in the family and you're there and you're watching things play out. And some people are a lot more observant than they care to admit, so they're watching how the interactions go and what people are saying. And some people are there just lighting the flame and winding people up, and other people there or protecting everyone, trying to calm it down. And so those roles within the family can be reignited as well. So if you've grown up a bit and you've lived away from home and you go back home, sometimes it can feel like you're stepping back into the 8 or 14-year-old version of yourself as you watch other people also reduce into this sort of drama cycle that can go on. So the drama triangle is a psychological concept in psychology where we look at the victim, persecutor, and rescuer. And those, if you look that up online, if you're not familiar with it, you can start to see where sometimes that plays out in friendships or in families. So some of the things that I would teach clients before they're going home at any point or spending any time with anyone, because you can have a boss who's like this as well, but at least you can finish work at the end of the day and hopefully they've banned emailing you after 5 o'clock so that you can get some peace and defrag. So number one, lower your expectations. Difficult or dysfunctional families are challenging. And so lower your expectations, know the roles that people play, like I said. And in particular, narcissistic parents don't suddenly become self-aware at any point or even in December. And it's one of the mistakes that a lot of people in relationships with someone who's a narcissist seems to believe, that they're going to realize, they're going to wake up and care what you think and feel and listen to what your concerns are and work with you as a team to make some changes to improve things. Usually classic clinically diagnosable narcissists, and many people won't ever be diagnosed. It was only Robert Hare, who worked in prisons, who came up with the profiling aspect of this that was able to diagnose, because he was in contact with prisoners every day. So we know that there's some dysfunction. We know that there are things that people can say and do that can really upset us. So narcissistic parents don't suddenly become self-aware at any point, let alone in December. So expect less and feel more empowered. Expect less. I can't repeat that enough. Use detached observation. Now, that's a challenge. That's why learning to pause, learning to step back. And when you realize that a lot of your justifications, trying to get them to understand, trying to see it from your perspective, your point of view, or even the fact that they might care, is expecting too much entirely. So you've got to be able to let that go. It can feel like a challenge, so it requires practice. Okay. So imagine watching their behavior from a distance. You're not responsible for their emotions, even though it can elicit guilt and concern, and you can get overly caught in this mesh of stuff. Some families are really bad, and others it's navigatable. You can manage it. I've got a client who really struggles when they go to dinner with their family, and in particular, one of the parents can just be really quite critical of friends or people around them. And my client really cares about how people are spoken about. And so it's almost like that bystander experience that you get when you're watching someone being bullied. It really evokes a sense of powerlessness. So you've got to have your survival strategy in your toolkit. So what can you do? Well, you could challenge them, but where's that going to get you? Will they go silent? Will they shout and scream? Will they stop talking to you? Ice you out? Or can you get into a debate and they listen, you listen, and it might get a bit heated? Or do you just go, okay, no, this is where I'm not going to expand my energy. I'm going to notice what's going on and just be myself, and that's it. So remember, you're not responsible for the emotions. And lots of kids that I work with, in particular, if it was narcissists, drug addicted, alcohol addicted parents, the children often felt an over responsibility to help or support that parent, and tried time and time and then got disappointed time and time again. So be really mindful about the way that you play, navigate those roles and the old behaviors, because sometimes we have to also let them go. It's not just about that person, it's about what we're keeping alive in ourselves, our hopes, lost dreams, missing parent, disappointment, all of that kind of stuff that can happen, especially if you're growing up in that environment. I can't emphasize that enough. I've worked with enough kids who came from chaotic, dysfunctional backgrounds to see the impact it had on them. So the therapy wasn't in schools about just listening. This was about helping them create their toolkit to exist in the environments they're in where they've got no power necessarily to make any changes. So number 3, have an exit strategy. A walk outside, a phone call, step into another room, create safety for yourself. So if you feel that you're being triggered and all your emotions are coming up, often we want to disperse that. So it might be that you've got a family friend that you can trust, that won't tell everyone else, or a friend in general, and you can talk to them, you can share that, you can defrag, download, go for a walk. But know that it just by the fact of making yourself important and your well-being important will help you feel more empowered and help you come out of these loops of, they're doing it, that kind of feeling that you get in your system. And then celebrate yourself internally, because people around us don't always even want to celebrate with the advancements and achievements that we've made, especially if you come out of dire circumstances. Okay, so really mindful of that. Your peace matters more than their reaction. Okay, some conversation is good, can go well, not in all cases. Some can be debate and some can get hairy and escalate into chaos. So every family is different, and some families, they are just used to shouting and screaming. So like I said, it just depends on where you come from, what your narrative is, and how much you've changed since you've been away. And not everyone recognizes that, and we need to stop looking for them to see it. And that's the other thing that can help. So if this resonates, you're not alone, okay? There's lots of people who feel like this. And if there are any groups out there that help you survive and navigate the holidays in particular, like CODA and codependency groups or narcissist groups or groups that help you get through a breakup, if you've left a relationship that's been really toxic, or even domestic abuse. Lots of women who I worked with who'd left those relationships where it just became a big mind fuck, and it wasn't good for them or their kids at all. So my heart goes out to you, and do the best that you can, because that's all you can do, and use the tools that you can do. And if you slip up, make a mistake, get angry, again, we're human, okay? But just remember that all of that giving out of that energy can just end up leaving you empty, and you don't want to feel empty. All right, so like and subscribe, press the bell so you get the notifications over the coming weeks of all the content that I've got, because I'm going to have some other stuff coming through as well. And thank you so much for listening.